Flex Download, episode 18. We are back.
I don't know why the audio didn't fade out there, but anyway.
So we're back with episode 18. As always, sponsored by Dust Pods, Champion Speedway, Kartway, Dreamfield Kartway, Pitside Kart Supply, and
also we got to thank Heinz Energy, Snake Creek Marine, Liberty Carpet out of Halstead, PA, Caveman Barbecue Rubs, as always, Dust Pods for helping us out, and we're up and running. Episode 18.
We do have Bill Folks says quiet, so maybe
quiet. We can
bit.
Volume up.
Very
we can do volume up.
Okay, let us know if that sounds a little bit better to
There we
you.
go. Yeah, it should be better now.
All right, yeah. Hopefully that's we'll wait for a little bit of a comment here to make sure that that's sound is.
Oops, my bad. Switcher error.
All right, how's
that? Still rusty on the switcher.
All right, now they're saying that's okay.
Much
now, better. All right, so we're off week 2. We'll start off with the big thing.
Cars.
We'll pick up from last week's episode. Our intention was to have an episode about tracks and track conditions and canceling and whatnot. It kind of turned into focused on one track, but by the sounds of things, 180-degree switch from opening night down at Penn Can.
Oh, absolutely.
I heard the track was absolutely beautiful. Hard work put in there, as expected. I mean, those guys always bust their asses, and sometimes things go wrong. But credit where credit is due, they got it turned around, and it sounds like they had a hell of a track Friday night.
Yeah, absolutely. The track was great. Tire wear was like nothing.
Perfect.
So I don't know about anybody else, but at least I didn't get into my tires at all. Oh, excuse me. I thought the track was great. It was not dusty at all. You could see in turns 3 and 4. So it was good. I wasn't, you could get off the bottom and you could see, and it was fine. Like, track was great. They did a great job. It was a great turnaround. They ran the show off. I think they were saying, Gary said something about they shaved 2 hours off. I know of the whole show, and I know we were done, and it was still a decent hour. With the modified feature, we were done and over with, and I thought it was great. They did a great job. They ran the show off. The track was in really good shape. I think the racing was pretty good. I watched the race report replay. I thought it was a nice racy surface.
Excellent.
Good. It was a good night.
So how'd your night go?
Not as good. We broke an axle, right rear axle in hot laps. I think I took the green off of 4 and we broke it coming off of 2. So we didn't get really any hot lap. Which, whatever, we got it fixed. Thanks to Marshall Hurd for helping us out with an axle. He was able to have one on hand. That in his trailer, it was a spare. It was great. Thanks to Danny Creedon also for offering up some parts. He had some stuff too, and he said anything you need. So thanks to him. We got it fixed. We started 4th in the heat race. We were able to finish 2nd. So we went forward in the heat race, and then in the feature, I started 9th, and I was running 8th. I really wasn't going anywhere, but just kind of holding my own. The car was a little bit better than it was last week. Still looking for a little bit more. Still got some adjustments to make, but we're close. We're not, throwing wholesale changes or anything at it. Good. Just little fine tuning, some small adjustments. I think we're really close. And I was running 8th, and apparently around lap, 15 or so, the valve cover decided it wanted to let loose and leak some oil. I say some, probably maybe a quart, but a quart makes one heck of a mess.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And it doesn't look good, when you're running around the racetrack. And, of course, so I pulled off. I didn't see any signs of the motor going south as far as the gauges were concerned. You know, we were still running cooled, still had plenty of oil pressure. So, I mean, it wasn't, I guess they were, you know, they had noticed it for a while, I guess, but, you know, I didn't think it was anything too major with the motor. The motor still had plenty of power, and it wasn't laying down or anything, and the gauges were still looking good. So, but anyway, just out of precaution, you know what I mean. We pulled off. It's better to be safe than sorry, and I like literally 10 minutes ago came in here from the garage to get going for this, but we looked everything over really good, and it appears to just kind of be a valve cover leaking. So we got some new gaskets and got it fixed up, and put a little extra reassurance on it.
Good deal.
Yeah, and so hopefully I think we got her sealed up. Hopefully everything goes good. We'll try it again here this Friday. Yeah, and just had some issues with the right rear tube, the axle tube, when it had broke the axle, but a little bit of a thread chasing file and patience paid off.
Taken care of,
Yep, paid off. We got that. I think we got that pretty well sealed up and fixed. And thanks to Paul Jensen for some of the advice and just a little bit of talking that we did this morning.
Good deal.
Thanks to Brandon Plank. Talked to him a little bit Friday about some adjustments. He had some insight for me, so that was good too. So thanks to him. And yeah, we're just gonna keep rolling, and we were fair, you know. Keep trying to get a little bit better every week. I think, you know, if we didn't have the valve cover issue and we could have just finished 8th, I think I would have been pretty happy with that. Two 8th place finishes, and we were fair.
Good deal.
So, yeah. On to your adventure.
Well, Friday night champion went okay. Numbers still a little light. Gonna attribute that. I've talked to a few of the races. Gonna attribute that to early season.
Late on the. I'll tell you my excuse here.
Late on the.
Our excuse, I should say, why we didn't make it was we were not ready by any means.
That's what we're hearing.
I apologize, Brandon.
Yeah,
I really do. I wish we
don't
could have.
expect you a champion. That was.
Well, no, but I meant I wish I could have been there.
We'll get to action park in a minute.
Wish I could have been there for you all the way around. Either way, but just couldn't make it.
Yeah, but it was good racing at Action Park, or Champion rather. And you know, we got some first time winners in there. I know Stephanie Deming won the Predator Novice race. She's been trying for about 3 years. I don't know anybody who's had as many second place finishes, and she had a pretty good lead opening night, and clutch slid out on her and lost the chain.
Oh.
So she broke through. I know the Ghost 410, Phil Clapper had it in the bag for
really
about they did so. He took his cart across the street to Mr. Walsh and did some scaling, did some work to it, and we thought he was going to beat Bobby.
Oh boy!
Bobby got on lap or 2 left, but he was still right there in second. The 360 race, I didn't get to see it. I see Josh Bedine won it pretty handily, but he wasn't there opening night. Matt Millard, I know I looked over at one time. They were half a track apart. I wasn't sure whether Millard was half a track ahead or half a track behind. I guess he spun out or something early on and just couldn't get caught back up. I didn't get to watch much of the race there, but junior numbers still a little bit light. But the clones, I'll tell you, they're putting on some phenomenal racing in that clone class. Even one of the re-retired naysayers was when they were walking off, because that was an awesome race. Alex Carmody got the win there. Chris Norconk was leading and had the cart jump out from under him coming out of turn 4, maybe half 2/3 of the way through the race, and had to come from the tail and got it to second, but. You know, a lot of such as this dirty tire rule. You got to pick your tires at the beginning of the night, and maybe it wouldn't have been a tire choice he would have made. You know, if he had picked them out at the end. So his tires were going away. They were going away after they'd be good for short runs, but 5 or 6 laps start. It really made for a really interesting race. They were all right there together, it was entertaining. It's fun to watch, and we're hearing a ton of positive. That's one thing is the people that aren't scared of the dirty tire rule or the Reaper tires, they're even some that were. I know that a couple of the drivers that were pretty adamantly against it, but they want to race the champion, so they reluctantly did it. They're like, it's nice because, we spend all night doing tires. You can come off the track after hot laps. You pull your tires off, you wash them, you try to watch the track, see what the track's doing, prep them for the heat race, come off after the heat, clean them up, prep them, then watch what the track's doing, just make a tire choice, see if you're going to change tires from the same ones, what prep you're going to use. And like we're hearing now, like this is great. Like I got to go over and watch some races. Got to, me and the girlfriend, me and the wife and the girlfriend, got to go over and we got to watch some racing, and that's something we just don't get to do.
Typically, don't have time to do when you're prepping stuff.
Just, the whole atmosphere of the track changed when you take away that rush mentality. It's become a lot more laid back, and I think as such, it's the tempers. People that are normally like they're uptight. They're on edge. Yeah. They're super focused. Now they just kind of let loose a little bit, and I'm actually surprised how much positive we're hearing about it. And hopefully more guys are willing to give it a go, because, like I said, it's the ones that have tried it, the ones that they're trying it, that have been there the first couple weeks have pretty much universally liked it. I mean, some of them, I know Ben Taft was there. He came down and ran with us Friday night, and he's like, I know I had the wrong tire on. He said, I know I got 3 more sets of Reapers in the trailer, and I knew I had a different set I wanted on. But he had over-prepped. He said he knew he over-prepped them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so he'd get going, he'd get coming up through, and then they'd go away on him.
Yeah.
But these Reapers, that's one thing about these Reaper tires. They very, very clearly say do not internal them. And
yeah.
Everybody that's internaling them seeing the same thing. They're
going away.
They're going away.
Yeah.
And I talked to one of the drivers, say when he internaled them, say he picked up 3/10, but it was very temporary.
Yeah.
So by the end, he's lost 4/10. So weigh it out here. Do you want it at the beginning or do you want it at the end? I don't know where I'd rather be fast.
Right.
Yeah,
definitely want to be fast at the end.
Yep. But then
you don't want to be hanging on at the end if you don't have to be. You really
right.
You want to be strong at the end. You don't want to be
right,
like barely hanging on trying to defend at the end of the race.
Yeah.
That's always tough.
Yep. So then we left there. Then we headed over to Action Park East the next night, and that was the most embarrassing race I've ever promoted in my race promotional career. We had an absolutely terrible turnout, 16 total carts, which the only saving grace for me on that race was it was a makeup show.
Yeah.
So most of the bills had been paid on it minus the insurance, because you got to pay anytime.
Yeah, carts on the track.
Anytime there's carts on the track. So if we go in, we run a part, we turn hot laps, we get rained out, we got to pay insurance on that, and then we honor the rain checks, we got to pay insurance again.
Yeah.
So, but the rent had been paid because my rent there is per event. So the rent, since it was a rain out, this is a reschedule. The rent had been paid prior. It was paid last fall for that race. So that was good. That was the only saving grace. And we had all the pay envelopes and all that were still left from the fall. So, but it was 16 carts is not going to keep a track open. And even with everything that was going in my favor, it was still a huge loss.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know the surface is just horrendous. Unfortunate side effect of sharing a facility like that is you're kind of at the mercy of the landlord when it comes to the surface itself.
Mm-hmm.
He runs the bikes there. The bikes are his primary source of income. He depending on what day you talk to him, he makes somewhere between 500 and 500 times the amount of money on a speedway show.
Depending on when you talk to him.
Yeah, depending on which day you talk to him, which post he's commenting on. That he makes a lot more money off the bikes, so obviously he's going to cater to them. But that doesn't do me any good. And
it doesn't do the racers any good.
No, it doesn't, and it shows.
Because you can't do what you want with the track. I mean, you and I have talked about this so many hours over
the last 4 seasons.
Yeah, of what we would love to see happen there.
Yep.
But
I'd love to do it and what can happen.
Right. Unfortunately, like Brandon is saying, and I don't think a lot of people totally understand or realize kind of the behind the scenes stuff that happens with the landowner that Brandon and I have talked about so much, and it really puts a binder on what you're able to actually do and how you're able to prep the surface and what type of surface is actually able to be on the track.
Yeah,
and
the thing is, like right now, the way the surface is, the bike guys don't even like it. It's like nobody likes it. It's not good for the bikes. It's not good for the quads. It's not good for the karts.
It's just not. It's not a conducive really much to anything. I mean, I think it's a little bit. It's a little bit too sticky, probably for the bikes.
Well, it's not. The problem is it's sand dunes now.
Because there's been no clay. But before, at the beginning of the season, at the beginning of not the season, but the
2020, beginning of the karts. The
karts racing there. That's what I wanted to get at. Sorry, I'm thinking
beautiful.
About switching the camera and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, surface was beautiful.
The surface was nice for karts.
Yep.
But it was too tacky for the bikes.
Yeah,
the bikes was
slick. They'd lay down.
Okay. So they roughed it up. They threw sand in it. Yeah. Well, I wouldn't call it sand, but
it's bluestone dust. Basically, it's cat litter.
Yeah.
And they threw it initially. The first couple of years, they were throwing it on top. They'd bring in a couple truckloads, throw it on top. They'd run on it, work its way down into the surface a little bit. But we could take the blade
and kind of scrape it.
We could scrape it off, scrape it to the top. It'd be slick for a few laps, but every night
it would blow off, and eventually you'd have some bite.
Yeah, you'd have a usable surface. But it got every time you add a load
about
of it,
2 years in.
Yeah.
About 2 years in, it didn't.
Yeah, and every time he'd add a load or two, it'd get worse and worse. And then last year he added some more, and then he tilled it in. He actually brought in a tiller, went down 4, 5, 6 inches, something like that, and basically made ruin. I mean, you can't do anything with it. It just will not hold together. There's nothing you can do to it. We took last year before the 212, we put Portland cement in it to try to firm it up, and even that, it worked for a little while.
Right.
And then, but eventually, once it started breaking up, when I say it worked for a little while, we're talking hours. We're not. Yeah. Instead of the track having monster holes in it during the beginning of the heat races, it was the end of the heat races. Yeah. And then the
features were rough.
Right, and we're looking at Steve Simpson and his wife looking at the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, I saw
so that page right there. That's been my favorite part of this week is that page popping up. It's called the Turn 2 Wall. Yeah. And it's I have my suspicions who it is. I almost don't want to know
because I like the mystery of it.
I do. I like the mystery. Like I said, I have some. I'm pretty sure it's coming out of the Capital District. Because that page in its first few days was actually called Trot's Turn 2 Wall, so I'm assuming they're talking about Turkey Trot. Okay. So it's got to be one of those, the Turkey Trot, Dodge City, Lebanon Valley guys. But I'm friends with a handful of those guys, and they like to poke fun at me. And
it was good, clean fun.
It was good, clean fun. I'm a good sport about it. But there's some other people they weren't so nice to. There's I was rolling a couple times. Shouldn't tell the ones I was laughing at because they were pretty.
I think they know who they are.
Yeah. If Tom Barron has seen the page yet, he's not happy. But it's entertaining. And so the Dollar General, Mike Farina's on here. When's the Dollar General going? I saw it posted somewhere. A picture of a Dollar General propped right in the middle of Action Park East, which actually wouldn't be too bad. Except for the fact there's already a Dollar General in Green. It's about 2 miles down the road.
Hey, there's there's 2 in like Shenango Forks, so I mean 2 in Green's not far off.
Yeah. There's you run down Route 12. You go from Green to Binghamton, Route 12. You go by, I think it's like 14 miles. And I think you go by 15 of them.
It's always handy if you're you don't have batteries.
Yeah,
and AAA's for the one ways on there. So shoot, we gotta stop at
Stop
DG.
at Dollar General. Which one?
Get extra batteries.
Oh Lord, which one are we gonna stop at?
That's the hard part, is deciding which one.
Yeah. You got.
It depends on when you remember.
Yeah, it's
Like how close you are to the track when you remember. Oh shoot, I need AAA.
problem is they all look the same. It was back in the day where they all looked a little bit different. You could tell where you were, but now it's just like you got a straight stretch of road, a big pile. It was a big mountain that I'm pretty sure we just watched the Dollar General hatch out of as we were driving by. And there's 2 people, 2 workers outside smoking cigarettes outside the front door. Okay, so we got the right place.
You ought to get into real estate with Dollar General.
Oh man, I'm sure they have their own.
Hey, while they buy up real estate for DG, they ought to buy up real estate for DXMP racetracks.
Yeah, they can figure it out. But yeah, so that's where the Action Park. There's some stuff that's got to change for it. I'm not going to put karts on that track again without clay going down. The landlord does say that we do have clay. We've got access to clay. We know where there's a pile of it. The owner has said, come get as much as you want, get it out of here. We have a trucking company that says they'll haul it for cheap for us, but it's just a matter of coordinating everything and it materializing. But it's got to get a good clay. If we put an inch down all the way around the track, it ain't gonna do the job.
Enough. Yeah.
It's not gonna be. It's still not gonna be enough. And the other thing we got to realize, it's not just me, but my what I pay to use the place is very high compared to other similar facilities that you don't have to share.
Right.
Which obviously that's going to weigh on my decision too. Is we're not, it's one thing when kart racing at Action Park East was at its peak, it wasn't a huge deal. When you're getting 100 karts a night or more, it's not a big deal to pay what I'm paying. But as anything, when you got something good going, other people are going to see and be like, hey, I can do that too. Yeah. And now we've got other tracks that are popping up. And I'm not going to knock them. I mean, that's, more power to them. And it's competition actually can be good it's good for the racers because now you got to figure
options.
You have options. And when your surface is horrendous,
you can go somewhere else.
You can say, you know what, Sundays we can go, 45 minutes down the road. I don't even know if it's that far. We can go down to Penn Can and run down there. Penn Can's putting this real serious effort into the kart program this year, and it shows. We talked about last week about how many ghost karts they had at practice. They had more ghost karts at practice than I had entire karts in the entire pit area. Yeah. And that has a lot to do with. I'm sure it has a lot to do with the surface. I know the Pennsylvania boys, it's travel for them. Yeah. They're 20 minutes from Penn Can or an hour and a half or whatever it is to, an hour and 20 or whatever it is to, for them to get to Action Park. It's, I know the numbers, we'll never see the numbers on any sort of regular basis like we did, like the 2022, early 2023, even 2021. That was our first year, and we were up in the 80s by the end of the year. And in all reality, I'd be happy with 50, 60 karts. I'd be happy as far as the program's concerned. 50, 60 karts ain't paying it's gonna just to cover the overhead. I need over 60 karts. Right. And we are a far cry from that. And quite honestly, I have no interest. I don't care if I make money. I just don't want to lose money. Right. It doesn't. It's to me. I'm looking at it as my race car. Yeah. Sure. It's my hobby. I'm not making a living. I'm not trying to make a living at it or anything like that. I just want to. At the end of the night, I don't want to have to go. I don't want to have to run to the bank to cover the bills. Right. To go in the opposite, take it from my day job, my
withdraw
house.
From your account, your personal account, to take care of the bills at your racetrack.
Right,
sure,
and that's
it's a legitimate business decision. Honestly, I think, especially when you've got some other irons in the fire that could be better down the road.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
We got track we're building 20 minutes down the road that I've got the option to run, and the surface material that's there
is already better than what's on the ground.
Yeah, we don't even have to bring in a surface for that to have a better surface than Action Park. As soon as we can get that, as soon as we can get a dozer, and we're trying to get our hands on a dozer. We got a lot of leads, but at the same time, there's a lot of guys that want a lot of money to either drop a dozer off or come in and work. So it's just one of those. Got to pinch pennies to make these things happen. I'm not a big dollar guy. Everything's being built on a budget. But we got probably 2 or 3 hours of work to do with the dozer to get everything shaped up. Then we can start putting up the walls and the fencing and start getting things, and then iron out the surface, plant some grass in the infield, and
right. And like anything, this didn't your whole kart promoting and the building of kind of where it's at now didn't happen overnight, you know. And so like a transition like this year is not a terrible thing to make a transition and shoot for a more of a future with another facility. So
yeah, I think that's exactly it. The facility, the Afton facility, is a lot lower overhead. I'm not sharing the track, so I don't have to worry about the bikes coming in, tearing the track up. Then I got to show up the next week and
fix it.
10-inch deep ruts down the straightaways and in the corners, and try to fix it, try to get it to hold together, and then get screamed at because it's because it looks like the Grand Canyon by the end of a slick tire go-kart race.
Yeah. So I guess the moral of the story is, hold on, folks. Go-Kart Jesus is making some changes and adjustments, and he's looking for a better future.
Yeah, I don't think Go-Kart Jesus is...
you were referred to that for a little while.
It did not take long to go from Go-Kart Jesus to Go-Kart Judas.
I had to poke a little bit of fun. We like to have a little bit of fun on this show, and glad that Brandon's a good sport about it.
You got to be. It's Deo said this week. He goes, when you promote a racetrack, you got to get some really thick skin.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, at this point, I really don't care for a lot of the online crap that we talked about last week. The couple people that like to create problems, but at the same time, like your track surface, I'm not going to try to say,
sugarcoat a bad thing.
My track was absolutely horrendous.
Sure.
I mean, it is the worst surface of any go-kart track in the state at Action Park.
Yep.
It does not stay together. There's no bite. It's borderline dangerous because it's like racing on marbles.
Yeah.
And the only saving grace is we've got it so it's not really dusty. We added some stuff to it last year. I didn't waste the dust pods on it because, it's you just know. But the stuff we put on last year, at least it made it heavy. So now it kicks up and it drops. So it's not like you're putting a ball of dust in the air.
So speaking of dust pods, now I just out of curiosity, because I know we've been pushing it for a little bit, and I'm wondering, have you been using it at Champion?
I have not used it at Champion yet because we've had
such a wet start.
Yeah, we've had a wet start to the year, and the track's still got a lot of moisture down in it, like a lot of the natural moisture.
Yeah, those grounds are a fair bit more wetter than Action Park was.
Yeah, and this week is supposed to rain all week, so I'll probably hold off. But if we get it the next dry week we get, I'm gonna give it a go. That's when I don't worry about it too much when there's a lot of moisture in the ground.
Right. Well, just like I was saying, I was kind of curious. So I'd be looking forward to hearing about some of your results and your experiences with it.
Yeah, I'm curious.
I'm looking forward to kind of seeing what it's going to do.
Yeah, Bedines usually isn't dusty at night at Champion. No, it's usually... That is one thing that's nice about... I mean, there is clay on Champion.
That's actual clay.
Yeah, it's actual clay.
Real clay.
Yeah, blue clay that we...
It's nice clay.
We accidentally found when we were digging a couple years ago. Remember, it didn't rain all summer. We had 0 rain out to Champion all year. And the ponds dried up, the watering ponds. They got down to like 6 inches of water in the pond. spread out over an area. Well, you put the suction hose in, just create a whirlpool and wouldn't pull any. So we had a mini excavator come in and dig a hole at one end of the pond, so at least we had
something down deep, yeah,
to try to get that last bit of. Well, he pulls it up and it's like sky blue, not a rock in it. We're like, oh, this is beautiful. So the next week we had a backhoe in there and we moved a lot of clay.
Digging for blue gold.
Yeah,
then.
it is thin. There's not a lot on the surface. We've got spots where the old stuff is starting to come through. I noticed we turned it over last night. I went down and it's just getting a little bumpy. And unfortunately, with only especially on the straightaways, there's only maybe an inch of clay, and then there's beneath that there's maybe an inch or so of some stuff that we paid for. There was like a clay topsoil
mix.
They call it racetrack mix. Same stuff they put on 5 Mile Point.
Yeah.
So we get into that, and then beneath that's a real sandy. Basically, it's just like the stuff that's at Action Park.
Yeah.
And we're starting to, we're starting to get into that, and the thing is, the clay starts like chunking out, and while it's not that bad, it wasn't that rough. It was getting bumpy, and when it starts getting bumpy, then it's going to start to chunk.
Right.
So we know if we left it alone, probably this would be the week where, especially with a lot of rain this week, that rain tends to create soft.
Chunk.
Yeah, well, it creates soft spots.
Yeah.
Where anywhere there's a puddle or anything, so they start running on that, and then they make a bigger hole, and then it starts chunking, and then you end up with
big holes.
Yeah, big holes. So I went down there, turned it over last night. Turned it, dragged it, packed it, dragged it, packed it, dragged it, packed it. It'll probably have a little bit of what's the term? A little bit of character this week.
A little bit of bumpy.
It won't be bad, but it always anytime we turn it over, it takes a week or two to get it
smooth back out.
The ghost cart do a really good job smoothing out with the treaded tires and a little bit better ride height. If we send those guys out first, they almost kind of like burn the high spots,
burn it off,
and it really makes for. I think it's gonna be fast this week.
I always kind of thought. I mean, back when I was racing RC cars and stuff, and I was helping Colston prep his track or whatever, we'd have some nights where it was a little bit bumpy or whatever, and I always thought the more that you just ran over it and the cars scraped it, the better it kind of came in, the smoother it got as the night went on. And I'm talking about just like a little bumpy. I'm not talking about a cornfield.
Right, yeah.
Just a little bit bumpy. The more you ran on it, the more that would just smooth itself out.
A lot of it depends on how hard the surface itself is. If it hasn't been turned over and it's bumpy, it's just going to stay bumpy.
Right.
This track hadn't been turned over since probably last summer.
Yeah, and then it's going to be a little soft just because of spring too.
Yeah, well, it was soft, but it was hardening up pretty good. Like it was getting hard, so when we turn it over though, you kind of aerate it a little bit, and so it'll be a little softer this week, which will throw these guys a little bit of a curveball. These guys that were dialed in on the harder surface, now it'll be. I'm thinking that track's gonna be a little bit softer this week. Might change the tire. Wouldn't surprise me to see the complexion of some of the races change up. A little bit different, a little bit softer surface. But now, like I said, with the aerated, and like when it's hard, it doesn't matter what you put on it. You might kick a little bit off the high spots, but at least if it's soft, you go in there and you almost build a cushion. Like the ghost carts, they go in and they kind of bounce on the high spots and they burn them right off, and it tends to make for a really good surface by the end of the night, and then for the weeks leading after or coming after that.
So now getting into it or whatever, just a kind of a new deal, the dirty tires and whatnot. Kind of something that was kind of on my mind or whatever for the kids or whatever. So I just want some clarification, I guess. They say the kids go out, whatever, they run their hot laps. Can I take the cart, lift it up, and then just roll the axle and brush the tire off with my hand, or no? Or am I not allowed to do that?
No, the only thing you're allowed to do is if, say they run through mud or something, when you get to the staging area to line up again, if you want to take a wire brush, knock off some big chunks, but in all reality, as soon as you put it on the ground, they're going to be gone anyway. So But no, you're not allowed to wipe them. You're not allowed to put heat on them. You're not allowed to don't even
brush them off. Don't even brush them off with your hand or blow air on them.
You can put air in them, but doing anything to clean them up in your pit area after the race is a no-no. Once you get to the staging area, like I said, if you have chunks of mud or something like that, like I know the off ramp at Champion used to get really muddy. We did put millings in there now, so it's a lot better now. But like quite often we'd pick those up and you got like literal chunks of mud. Once you get to the staging area, we'd let them take a wire brush or something, but that's not even an issue anymore. But yeah, don't be doing anything with them in the pits other than change your air pressures if you want.
Well, it's good to know. I was just curious about it because I haven't really talked to you about it too much, but I was under the assumption that you could at least just like wipe it off with your hand and still be like dirt residue on there. It's just it takes off the dust and whatever. But I wanted to clarify that. Yeah. And going into it, I don't want to get my kids in trouble, right? You know.
Yep.
So good to clarify there. And if anybody else had any questions or concerns or whatever about that, now they know.
Yep.
So, Eric Barrett says, so rip a donut in the grass to clean the tires off. We get a big no-no.
You're not allowed to drive through the pits.
There you go. There's your ruling on that, Eric Barrett. You're not allowed to drive through the pits.
Yeah, Nate Shea, just want to say whoever came up with the ghost class, what a great idea. Love watching that class. Yeah.
Go-kart. Jesus.
Jesus here. Yeah, no, that was that class actually started when Harbor Freight came out of that Ghost engine at the beginning of 2022. I think the engine came out was released in May, I think, of 2022. I went out and bought one. I bought the first one in the Southern Tier. First store to have one was Oneonta, and I was there when it came off the truck, pretty much. They pulled it out of the back room for me. And we took it down. Originally, it was supposed to be an alternative to the clones because they make basically the same horsepower and they actually make more torque than a clone. We started out with the clone bodies and the slick tires and stuff like that, and then it's like, you know what? I want to put these on a treaded tire. We got to make it different, make the class different. And so we're like, all right, so we'll put them on a treaded tire. I'm like, well, I started looking at racing treads, and boy, were they expensive. I was looking at all sorts of different options. I was looking at asphalt rain tires they use for the road course karts.
Mm-hmm.
And they were pretty reasonable, but there was concerns about the bolt pattern on the wheels because they come with wheels, but they're a 5-inch wheel. So, the 6-inch that we have wouldn't be. So I was like, all right. And I just happened to walk through Tractor Supply, and I look up and I'm like, I wonder how they would work. So before we even made that official decision, I bought 4 tires from Tractor Supply. I bought 2 skinny ones, 2 big ones. I put the big ones on the rear, the skinny ones on the front. Took it down to Champion. I put a ton of air to the right rear to stretch it out to about 2.5 inches of stagger. Put about 1.5 inches in the front just with air pressure. I went out and boy was it fun to how the turn 2 wall has entered the chat.
Oh, nice.
I took it out and it was like driving a dirt car again. Like at go-kart racing, the slick tire prep racing it's like asphalt racing. It's locked down on the bottom. Keep the cart straight. Don't be sliding it. Don't be doing any of that. And then after we decided, this is the tire to go, because I'm going to them, setting it in the corner, basically driving it like a sprint car, just throwing it in there and it's carrying, it's holding itself sideways, and you could get off the bottom. You could run the high side, you could run the bottom. And then we decided to put them on that tire. And then when we put them on that tire, we had a handful of guys. I think we started that. We switched to the treads. I think it was in like early September, and by the end of September, I think we had 8 or 10 guys that all had these ghost carts with the treaded tires, and the body rules were open at that point. You could run either a clone style body or the high side body.
Is it still open now?
No, we're requiring the high sides now.
Okay.
Simply for safety reasons. Last year, a couple times we'd have guys with the low sides. Something would happen, they break, and they slow down, and your arm just naturally hangs over the side, and a couple of those tall bodies, guys will clip them.
Mm-hmm.
They hit him right in the elbow. Josh Kipp got wailed under caution. Guy caution went out for a lap. Guy didn't slow down. And then at the very last second turned. But that low side versus high side. The other thing is when you're racing, when you're on that low side body, your arm's hanging over. Well, the other body can clip you pretty easy. And that happened a few times. It happened to me. It's, we started out, I know I ran a low side on it once. It wasn't even my car, it was on somebody else's, but it was like hot lapping it or something. And we just bounced off somebody with that high side body. If everybody's on the low side, you're not hitting the bodies. If everybody's on the
You're
high
just
side,
banging elbows.
yeah. So now the rule is you have to, your bodies, while we don't have a minimum height rule, your elbow has to be tucked in behind the body. As long as your elbow's tucked in, if you start running out there and your elbow's sticking out past, we're going to make you change body.
Yep.
That's a pretty clear rule on there. So, but yeah, it's a blast, and it's just, you can run. There's a video of me and Barry Goodman running side by side for the last 7 laps of a race. Yeah, it's on YouTube.
I was gonna comment on that about all the side by side races that I got to watch last year in the Ghost class. There was a number of them that like you were talking about with you and Barry, that just went side by side for laps and laps and laps. So it was a very exciting class. I think honestly it was probably, talking to other people, one of the more exciting classes to watch. I know everybody kind of lined up along the wall to watch the Ghost class when the Ghosts were out. So
yeah, I remember some of the loudest crowd I ever heard was at a Ghost race at Action Park.
Yeah,
it was 12 or 13 of them out there, and it was an awesome race. And guys got a little
dicey.
Guys got a little dicey, and a little bit of give, a little bit of take, a little bit of give it back, but
it was an exciting race to watch.
Matt Snow, do you have to run with the nose? No, you do not have to run with the nose. But yeah, it's in what like Kyle Rogers. I don't know how many nights last year he went to the top, and he'd run around. Guys run right to the front up on top, and you don't see that in kart racing. And we're not talking going by slots. We're talking about legit passes for the lead. And we did the Amish races one night last year. Which, for those of you who are the uninitiated, the Amish races, basically the rule is once you take the lead, you have to go to the top. When I say the top, like you've got to be within like 5 feet of the wall. So you have to run the high groove. And Bedine got to the lead and went to the top, and we couldn't get around him. Like the other races were really, it was fun. Like we're battling back there, and of course you got some guys that some guys with a little bit of game plan there, because in the other classes you don't want to be leading on the left. When you get the white flag, you don't want to be leading because you're a sitting duck.
You're gonna get shoved.
Yeah, you're gonna get passed. You get whoever's
unless you got a good gap. You're gonna get, if you're the right on your bumper, you're gonna get the shove into 4 and skate you up a lane.
Well, they're already up a lane. They're already at the top. If you're leading, you have to run the top. So there's no skating there. You're already there.
No, I meant with the other style karts. With the slick tires.
Yep, but the Kamikaze Kyle, I like that name.
Kamikaze Kyle.
But we'll come back to Dave Coyle in a minute. But the Ghost race last year, I got to run the Ghost race, and I ran the budget Amish race too. But Bedine jumped up top, we couldn't catch him. Yeah. It was the fast way around the track. I tried. I know I was back. I think I got up to second at one point in time, and I'm trying to put it right down on the hub, just to see, and right down where everybody runs down the hub, and I'd show a nose going in the corner, and he just get a hell of a run,
momentum,
had to steam off the corner, and it's like, man, this is racing. This is what it's all about. But now the budget race, that was a little different story. So
a lot of lead changes in the budget race.
There was a lot of lead changes in the budget race, and I had a game plan. I wanted to be running third at the white flag because I knew going into 1, whoever's second was going to be leading.
Yep.
By the time I came out of 2, he's going to have to go to the top. That gives me till turn 3. Well, Dave Coyle was leading. I think it was Roger Swansboro was second, and I'm running third. We go into 3, and I can't remember whether Roger just let me by or screwed up or something, and now Dave's leading. And I'm up to second. We're coming down the front stretch, and I'm up to second, and I'm like, I can't pass Dave. I'm like, if I pass him, I'm screwed. And so I'm second. Like, I did not. That's the last place I wanted to be, was second place. And we go down the front stretch, and like Dave, of course, Dave's up top. So I'm like, I'm just gonna keep it on the bottom and crawl as slow as I can, and make it so Roger or whoever's gotta go around the outside of me. And if he does, I'm gonna hold him out there. Well, so Dave. So Dave, we go down there, and I'm on the bottom. Dave's way up top, and then I think he figured out what I'm doing. He just lets me by. And I'm like, I can't slow down anymore. So now, coming down the back stretch, got to get to the top, and I go to turn 3 and 4. I'm like, I'm not lifting. I'm just holding out here and hope it And I'm right on the edge of that. Am I up high enough? Like, I'm just running just as low as I can, but still be considered up to the top. And I don't know what happened behind me, but I know I got punted in the left rear. I think it was. I think Roger got into my left rear, and I'm like, I'm jacked sideways coming down the front stretch. Somehow I pulled one of these maneuvers, crossed the line first. They were all piled up. I don't think anybody else finished the race, but that was probably the most fun I had last year. Was that Amish race, and it was a good time. But yeah. So we are doing that again Friday night. We're doing
this Friday.
This Friday night. Bedine put up $100 to the winners of the Ghost, the actual race, the Ghost 360, Ghost 410 race. So we're gonna move regular winner's purse or winner's share is gonna get bumped to second to third. So now it'll be top 4 pay. Plus we're doing the Amish races for any of the classes that want to do it. So it should be a fun night.
So you're gonna do 2 races, right? So like a regular race, and then at the end of the night,
at the end of the night, the Ghost. I mean, we're not gonna do like a 360 410 because honestly,
it'll just be a combined.
Yeah, it'll be combined. The Budget Predators will be the same deal. It'll be all combined.
I just got bit by a mosquito. I don't know about you. I just got bit by a mosquito. You have
West Nile in this place, do you?
I hope not.
But yeah, I'm looking really forward to that race again. I'm considering actually, like, my carts still have the dirt on them from last year. I haven't even had a chance to touch them. But I'm considering it's supposed to be rainy tomorrow, Thursday, maybe Friday. So either tomorrow night or Thursday night, I might
give her a rip.
Yeah, I'll go in. I got to figure out what's going to take the least to get going. The Ghost. I need an engine for the Ghost. I don't know if I'm gonna have time to run down to Harbor Freight and grab an engine or not. The Budget needs a little bit of front end work, and it's either got a bent wheel or a bent axle on the back. If it's a bent wheel, no big deal. If it's a bent axle,
might be a little bit bigger deal.
Yeah, I might take the Ghost engine, put it on or take the Budget engine, put it on the Ghost cart, because that's now legal. It's an 09, so it's legal this year for the Budget. So may do something like that just to get out on the track. I don't know how it'll work. I don't know how to handle. I have no idea. set up for the turf tires.
So everybody that's not ready yet, Brandon is even more not ready.
Yes. Yeah. Everybody that I was giving crap to for not being ready yet, I also am not. I have 3 carts sitting in the garage right now. Like I said, the front ends, the bearings, and one of the spindles is gone. So this front wheel flops around like this. And like I said, the bent axle or bent wheel, I'm not really sure which it is. The Ghost, no engine. The open cart, I don't have a set of wheels and tires for it yet. Because we were on the opens, the open small block. It's a treaded racing tire. We were on that. We got a few guys with them now. I'm hoping that class takes off. There's a very, very similar class that's running out in the Capital Region, the Outlaw Predator class. They made their debut a couple weeks ago out at Turkey
Saw
Trot.
that. And I saw the YouTube replay.
And they're wild. I can tell you.
They get down the straightaway.
They do.
They move pretty good.
Yeah, and they slide. They're throwing it in the corners, and they're treads do wonders for the quality of the racing. When you can start moving around, you got treads, means you get up in the marbles, you can actually still grab something. The Brokeback 25 at Trot was wild. Turn 2 wall is definitely here. But it's in that race made some, there was a lot of naysayers out there about that class. The diehard clone guys that are, that they're gonna know I'm talking about them right now. But the guys they have their tire program down, don't really want to showcase their driving ability by putting them on a treaded tire. So they're the engineers. I guess I should put a disclaimer. I'm entirely joking. Please don't take that to heart. It's, but yeah, there was some naysayers, and they made it like they're quick. They were returning real close to the same lap times as the clone. Might on the right track, I'm sure it'll be faster than the clones. I can tell you right now, I ran the Turf Tire Nationals when I opened. We were on the same tire as the Ghost, and it was insane. When you got my engine on the dyno, it's a mechanical dyno, so it doesn't have a computer hooked to it, but the math figured out should be somewhere right around 23, 24 horse, and that is a lot of ponies to put on a lawnmower tire. And it was a blast. I mean, it was just driving it. I mean, you could run all over the track. Any lane, didn't matter. You could put it right up against the wall, hammer down. You're not running out of gear. You're not running, because it would scream. Engine just absolutely scream. And I'm sure on a treaded racing tire, it's even faster. And I'm looking forward to that. And then we got Action Park. We do have those, provided we get back to Action Park. If not, I'm sure it'll be at Afton. We do have the Outlaw Predator group coming down this summer to run with us, and you better believe I will have mine. I'm sure I will talk. I think Bedine and Al Brown, a couple other guys have cards, and we're gonna teach those Capital Region boys what happens when you come down to the Southern Tier. Come down to our home turf.
I think that challenge going out right there.
It's definitely a challenge going out right there. I will absolutely have my card at that race, and I plan on at least beating Cole Nelson.
Yeah,
that's the goal. The goal is to beat Cole.
Promoter versus promoter.
Yeah. Yep.
So we've been talking about karts and stuff. We don't have a whole lot to time left here. How about Fonda?
Oof. Yep.
Oof is right.
Yeah. That sucks.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say Fonda sucks.
No. Just the night. The night.
Yeah.
That's a talk about the 16. A kick in the balls, like 16 karts in your pits total. Rough track like that was
rough and rocky, man.
Yeah.
Seeing but
some of the posts were pretty ugly.
Yeah. It would, you can't blame guys for loading up.
That's what kind of like what we were talking about last week. We all, as racers, we all have that option of saying that we're not gonna hurt ourselves or our equipment.
Yep, and that's one thing that Brett said it. I think Brett worded it very, very well when he put the post out. He wasn't hiding from it. He said that he's been a promoter and he's been a race car owner, and he's loaded up, and he's loaded up when he felt that the track conditions weren't favorable or safe. And that's those guys have that option. But that's one thing about Fonda. That's one thing about Brett. We know they're going to get figured out. See, Jeremy Corcoran was up there today helping them out. And they're going to get it right. I mean, that's one thing that that something like that, especially with high limit. Is that this week?
I don't know what the schedule is for that.
If high limit's in there this weekend or not. I think so.
I know they are there, but I'm not sure what week it is.
I can't remember if it's this week or next week, but they'll get it right. They got, and Jeremy Corcoran is he's a track prep expert. There's a guy that's going to figure it out. It's going to be him. But I think the biggest thing is just getting the rocks out. Yeah. There's I saw some pictures, and it was
pretty rocky.
Sometimes that happens, man. I've seen we've had stuff delivered that you get it delivered. We've had material delivered, and you're like, this is good stuff. You're looking at it, and like, man, there's no rock in it, nothing like that. And then you start spreading it out, and you're like, okay,
all them rocks come through.
Yeah, all of a sudden, like, where did all these rocks come? Like, did somebody plant rock here? Was there like a rock egg in there that we didn't see, and now it grew overnight?
Well, I just I didn't want to throw all the shade on Penn Can. I had to,
No, just And
mention it.
just like Penn Can, they got it figured out, and they got it figured out quick. I mean, that was,
Yes, they did, and I expect that Brett would too.
yeah,
You know,
I'm sure.
especially with the resources and the help that he has. You know, I would expect that he would get it figured out pretty quick, and
there's no promoter out there that's going to deliberately have a terrible track. Yeah, everyone was busting their ass.
Absolutely,
things happen. Like that's one thing that, I mean, we had, like I said, we've had terrible nights at Action Park even before. We hit dust. We fought dust really hard for a while, and I mean the material there was always a little wonky. It just got worse and worse. But like we'd have mud and dust at the same time. We'd have mud down the straightaways and dust in the corners. Yeah. You know, and like Penn Can said, I think it was a grader last week. I think
the grader broke, and the guy that was supposed to water the track quit. And that was the other thing. I guess he just when he quit too. I guess apparently he didn't say anything to anybody.
Didn't do it.
Just like drove off. I'm done. See ya. Nobody knew, so apparently the track didn't get watered as nearly as much as Keith wanted to, and the grader broke, so he had a hard time getting it dug up and the moisture down in it. So things happen, right? Like
one thing the drivers need to understand.
The track isn't always going to be 100% just how you want it, and you know the car. Just like you and the drive, you know, you're trying to make a setup change or make set your car up for a racetrack. Yep. It's not always going to do exactly what you want it to do or not handle exactly how you want it to handle. And you know, things just like the promoters run into the same type of stuff. So
one thing I do want to say is while we're on the big car tracks, Saturday after we got done at like 8 o'clock because we hung around for a little while and got to about 9:30. I'm like, I haven't been up Thunder Mountain in about 5 or 6 years. And my cousin was up to Lippy's. They were doing some work up there, getting ready for their reopening. And he pulls up his live time. And Modified Consi was on the track, and he goes, "You got time?" Why up? We're going to Thunder Mountain. I got there about 10 o'clock.
Ah, good. I was hoping. I wanted to hear. I was hoping somebody made it up there and would give a. I was almost thinking about saying, "Man, we got to get somebody on the show that makes it up to Thunder to tell us about it." So.
I didn't see much.
Glad you got there.
Yeah, I got there. I wasn't. I mean, I was only there about an hour, because I hadn't been looking at the forecast. Mm-hmm. But I ran up there, and I'll tell you, I started at the driveway. Now, like I said, I haven't been there in probably 5 or 6 years at least. I haven't been there since the screen was up. I don't even remember if I've been there since they built the new tower and then added on to the new tower.
Yeah.
And the vibe up there was so much different than I ever remember it being. Like, it's always been, kind of a party, but kind of, I don't even know the right describing word. It's always been a popular place, minus a few years. But with the Spoonhauers up there, they've always done a pretty good job of filling the place. Mm-hmm. But just coming up the driveway and seeing they've made the pit area bigger. There's campers all over. It's an event. Like, it doesn't just feel like going to a night at the races. Like, it feels like you're walking into this. You're driving into this huge event, and you're pulling up in there. Like I said, driveway's kind of narrow and kind of tight when you go up through the S's and stuff to get up to the top of the hill. And when I got there late enough, there was cars coming down, so to find a parking lot up on top of the hill rather than parking at the bottom, I have to walk all the way. So I get there, of course, these big massive towers they've got put up then, and the concessions of they're a lot
updated,
a lot more updated than I remember seeing. I didn't make it into the bathroom, so I can't speak for that, but I know that was one of the points years ago that was not super popular place to hang out.
Oh, it was always cold. Yeah. It was always freezing in there.
But man, I just the whole vibe getting out there, the clay they've got on there, it's all, it doesn't even look like the same track. Like you look out on there. I mean, I got there, the CRSA Sprint feature, they were just finishing up Victory Lane interviews, so I got to watch the 600 micros run. Kyle Pierce won that
Yeah,
race.
I saw that. I saw Kyle won. Congrats, Kyle.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Former kart racer under the DXMP logo.
Yeah, he raced I think a couple times. He ran 2020. He ran a few races with us, and then he ran some of the non-wing stuff that I did.
Yep.
And then he's been around with CRSA and the micro pretty regularly for the last few years. And then I got to watch the 600 mods. I didn't get to watch the whole race because they kept saying, like, we know it's going to rain. We're trying to get in as many races as we can. We're not going to do victory lanes. We're going to get it. And I'm like, so I'm watching the radar and I'm like,
it's supposed to be raining right now.
And I'm like, that rain is about 3 minutes out. And I'm like, I'm on top of the hill. When it starts to rain, everyone's running for their car.
Yeah.
I don't want to be in the middle of that because that is one thing about Thunder Mountain about race fans. Y'all need to take a lesson from hockey fans pulling out of a parking garage on how to properly zipper merge and get out. Hockey fans, for as riled up as they get,
they merge well.
When you pull out of the parking garage, they merge. They know how to do the zipper merge one after the other. It's not Thunder Mountain, man. Thunder Mountain 5 Mile Point are the worst tracks for trying to get out of the parking lot.
You don't have to worry about 5 Mile anymore.
I mean, if we got problems getting out of there now, but like it's always like everybody's just no. I am not letting you in. They're touching the bumper of the guy in front of them and flipping you off because like, hey, buddy, I've been sitting here for 15 minutes. Like you just pulled out of your parking spot. Let's have some courtesy here. So needless to say, I didn't want to get in the middle of that. So
I know one way to piss Brandon off.
Yeah.
Mess up the zipper merge.
Oh, man, I'll tell you, I almost got out of 5 Mile Point. I remember it was about 7-8 years ago. They were actually doing it right. And I'm watching. I was like, okay, we're being courteous here. This is unusual. And one lady, and I know who it was, and I chewed her ass the next time I saw her. She refused. She pulled. It was my turn. She pulls up and blocked me out. And I'm telling you,
that's why I say
I could have got out and broke necks.
I think I think it should come on your driver's license like a punch card. Like you get like 3 a year or like 1 a quarter or something. I think chrome horns. You should get a punch card on your driver's license. You're allowed to have like 3 or 4 chrome horns per year.
I honestly,
I think it would like make things a lot safer
out there. And I think messing up a zipper merge should be a point on your license. And I think anybody with a dash cam should be able to turn you in.
That would be interesting.
That would be interesting, man. If you got a dash cam, now believe me, I've had I don't have one right now, but I've had dash cams in the past. saves my ass a lot. I remember following a tractor trailer, a piece of ice came off the top of it, smashed hit my windshield, just absolutely destroyed my windshield. Luckily I had the dash cam. But I'm telling you right now, if there'd be a lot less pissed off people in parking lots if you record somebody screwing up the zipper merge, you get their plate number, they get a point on your license. Insurance rates go up. I'll bet you see a lot less angry people and probably a lot less shootings because I'm betting
somebody's gotten shot over.
Most parking lot shootings are over the zipper merge.
Brandon, I hope you don't ride strapped. Concealed carry.
Not answering that. But yeah. So anyway, back
Thunder
to
Mountain.
Thunder Mountain
went great.
So I get out. So I get it. I beat feet out of there. By the time I get to the bottom of the driveway, it's raining. My windshield wipers are going full blast. I'm like, ha, God, they're gonna be rushing out of there. And then I get back. I ran back to Action Park. I was gonna stay. I got a camper out at Action Park. I was gonna stay the night there. And I'm like, you know what? Screw it. Gonna hook on the trailer. So I hooked on my trailer and drove home. And as I'm hooking, it's like I get hooked on the trailer. I get in the truck and I check. And then modified feature was over. They got most of the modified feature in. So I could have stuck around. It did rain out during the modified feature, but it was after.
I think they got 28 or 30 in.
28 or 35.
35. I didn't know if they went a couple extra.
Yep, but I think Brandon Walters won that.
Cool. Brandon Walters won that. No. See, Kenny Hammond led quite a bit of it there. Brandon
Walters finished second at Utica.
Yes, I did. I saw that. He finished second at Utica. It was strong.
I'll tell you, if you've been living under a rock and you haven't been watching him, he's one.
He's doing good. Brandon Walters has been doing really well. Yeah.
Yeah, following that year he followed the Super Dirt Series.
Yes. Anytime you can follow a professional series, definitely will up your game.
Yeah, I'll tell you, when he first went out on the Super Dirt Series, I was like, okay then. And I mean, no judgment here. I just figured it might be a little optimistic for you. But then I'm watching him throughout the year. He's getting better, better and better. And he went from having to buy in to I think by the end of the year he was to qualifying, and I think by the end of the year he was occasionally punching the top 10. Yeah. And
that's what a lot goes to be said about running with better guys and better competition is it definitely ups your game and your skill level and everything, and it comes back to your local racing. When you come back home, to your local tracks, you're going to be that much better because you've got that experience racing with those guys.
Yeah, so. He came back. I think it was the next year. He only followed. I think he only followed it for a year. When he came back the next year, I'm pretty sure he won the championship at Thunder Mountain. Yeah. And so and he's been impressive the last few years. Watching him run against the big boys. Yep. He's been impressive. He's fun to watch.
Definitely look forward to some good things from Brandon Walters.
Absolutely,
for sure.
Yep.
He's getting pretty darn quick.
Yes, he is. But it was cool. I just wanted to get out that Thunder Mountain. It was the first time I've been up there, and it was just the whole. I don't even know. Like I said,
an atmosphere.
It was the entire atmosphere, the whole place. Like I said, I showed up late. It wasn't even like I got there. Early and just pulling in, just like looking at the pits. The pits have gotten so big, and just the big haulers and everything going on, and just everything's so full, and campers and just so many people. The stands were absolutely packed, and you look up in the tower. The tower's huge, and it looked like the entire tower was full. Yeah, like you look at every window, the lights on. There's people in it. It's like, man.
Sounds like things are going good and off to a fairly strong start here for Thunder Mountain.
Yeah, they had a solid field. I think their modified count was in the 30s or something.
It's good. They've like I said, Carl and Carl Jr. have just done a phenomenal job. While they were up, and I know Senior was doing everything, and now Carl Jr.'s taken over a lot more of it. Yeah. Those guys have just done a phenomenal job whenever they were at the reins.
Yeah, I think they're supposed to. I think they're going to have Afton open this week.
Looking forward to that.
Delay last week with
some permits.
Yeah, permits and stuff like that. But hey, these things happen too, and I'm sure when they get into Afton, they'll make things go well there too. So.
Yep. It's cool. So we got to wrap it up here soon, I guess.
Yep.
Unless you want to keep rolling. We're about approaching 10 minutes over. Yeah. We started a little bit late, did we?
Yeah, we started about 5 minutes late, so we're about 8 minutes past, but not too big a deal to me.
No, not bad. Any comments or anything? Anybody chiming in?
Let's take a peek and see what we've got for chiming in. Scott Underwood, Thunder Mountain was packed in all the classes.
Yeah, it sounded like Thunder had a good night despite the rain, and positive things coming from Thunder Mountain, so that's great. Looking forward to seeing what they can do at Afton, and hope everybody's doing well. To see people doing well.
With all that being said, thanks for joining us again. I don't know if we're back next week or the week after.
We'll try.
I got some stuff I got to get caught up on at home.
Same here.
3 tracks and all that. We'll see. We'll let you know next.
I didn't know if we were gonna make it this week.
Yeah, we were back and forth whether we were gonna do it today or not. I probably shouldn't know. I probably should have stayed home and got some stuff done. But here we are.
And here we might be next week. Who knows?
We'll see. Knows? But I'm sure. So I'm just gonna put that out. The Turn 2 wall page. They are commenting on here. It's a lot of kart stuff. They did harass Fonda a little bit. But that page had me absolutely rolling this week. They're taking shots at me left and right, but it's all in good fun. I think.
I hope.
Whoever that is, I'm hoping it's all in good fun.
You might just get a message from that person.
I don't think so.
But they might not.
I can narrow it down.
They might not tell you it was them.
Well, I can narrow it.
Talk to you about it.
I can narrow it down to.
I know that's what I would do.
I can narrow it down to about a group, about 8 or 10 guys. I know it's at least a couple of them in that group, but none of them will give up who it is.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. That's part of It's like the Gage Martinez thing. Who is Gage Martinez?
I got accused of being Gage Martinez once.
Did you really?
Yeah, because I bought one of those, man.
Yeah.
The mask for sale, and I bought one. I sent myself a screenshot to the Gage Martinez page, whatever, and he shared it. And it was taken in deposit, couldn't store. A friend of mine was like, "You are Gage Martinez. You're behind the Weaver Valley thing." I said, "No, I'm not."
I wish that we had the jump on that, the Weaver Valley. Yeah. That would have been, if we would have just been a little bit more creative and savvy. Well, they're getting back then.
They're getting good now with the AI stuff.
They're doing really well.
It's
funny.
I love that page.
Yes, great.
Yeah,
great page. Very funny, comical.
The Salina 52 truck stop page is another good one. That's I'm sure it's the same people, but that's another genius page. But yeah, all right.
Yep.
So
thanks for tuning in.
Yes, thanks for tuning in again. As always, this podcast brought to you by Champion Kartway, Dreamfield Kartway, Pitside Kart Supply, Dust Pods is obviously the primary sponsor. Those of you who those track promoters out there having a little dust issue, this stuff, get on. Discount code XX, spelled it out, DOUBLEX is the discount code. I think it's like a 40% discount. I can't remember the exact figure, but it's a pretty substantial discount. Head on over, check them out. I know we will be putting them to use as soon as we get a little drier ground here. I got to order a couple cases of it anyway. So we'll be putting that to use. Can't wait to see how it works. And
we'll get the experience. We'll find out some more about that once we start using it, and I'd like to hear what Brandon has to say about it. Looking forward to that. On my end of it, I'd like to thank Snake Creek Marine, Heinz Energy, Liberty Carpet, Caveman Barbecue Rubs, and I think I forgot to mention them earlier, but Northeast Implement as well for coming through with a in-car cam. We'll have some more. Unfortunately, I was a dummy and forgot to hit record as we're rolling out for the features. So we'll have some more footage from the heat races. I did fix the sound. The sound is better now. It's not doing that screamy thing in the middle of the corners. It's scraping the decibel level there. So that's all set. Looking forward to some more stuff with that and keeping up with the editing on that. But anyway, so thanks to Northeast Implement for helping us out, and everybody for tuning in. Have a good night, guys.